Good evening, everybody. It is Sunday night, my friends. Boy, I'm really into this song. This is really, I like this song. This is called "See a Space Cowboy," on the "Be Aggressive, a Gunstar Heroes" tribute album. Okay, that's pretty good. This is pretty good. I like it. Welcome on in, everybody. Welcome. I hope everyone is doing well. I am sore beyond words. And not sore as in, salty or upset or anything like that. No, my muscles are just, if you can call them muscles, they are noodly and achy and generally screaming at the top of their lungs at me. It's been an eventful weekend, friends. Eventful. Welcome on in, everybody. Welcome. I was going to do some Elementalists tonight, but I realized two things. One, I'm really tired, so I don't know if it's going to be a full stream or not. And I kind of want to give Elementalists a fair shake. And two, I have thoughts. And I thought it might be a good idea to play a game where I can kind of have some thoughts as we're brutally murdering, much deservedly, some denizens of the underworld. Why is that shop that's... I guess that's shop that's telling me something. I have no idea. I have no idea. Cosmetics. Sure, I don't care. Anyway, start the game. So, I am gonna probably do some story stuff right now. But in between the game chatting at me, I will be I'll be talking about some things. I have two available points. I didn't even realize that, friends. Where do I want to spend these? That's the real question. That's the real hard-hitting question here. Kind of want to go down this insulated path a little bit. Would it mean up here for the... Oh, okay, never mind. Yeah, it doesn't really matter which way I go here. We can just go like that. So that's dexterity and then intelligence. Would have been the same way that way. Cool. Oh, friends, and we're on Torment 3. We are going to do... I'm gonna kick off the next story thing, I think. Because we're still in Vessel of Hatred, so it would be nice if we move things along a bit, I would say. So I go there, huh? So let's just go down here and work our way up. Mayhaps. Let's do that. Oh, it's been a thing, friends. I've been Um, Cleaning house, trying to get like as few as far along in the cleaning house business. I don't know if that's the right word to use. As I can. Um, it's been it's one of those things where how best can I put this? Um, oh, I'm getting quite beat up here a little bit. There you go. Okay. All right. We haven't had a beating by random overworld mobs in a while, so this is exciting, fun and exciting. Wow. Yeah, they are certainly being spicy here. Um, yeah, so I was trying to yeah, I've fallen behind on my chores as a someone that owns the house they live in. And it's one of those things where um, it doesn't happen all at once, right? It kind of creeps up on you. You know, I remember, a time when it was like, I would tackle like one room a week or say, where I just and I do little things along the way to kind of make the chore easier. Like, you walk by a surface in your house and you just kind of like, oh, I'm just gonna wipe this down, that kind of thing. Just to make the task a little bit easier later on. You still do a full clean at some point, but at that point it's the surfaces are still fairly it's fairly easy to do at that point. It gets a little bit easier because you can just kind of focus on the surfaces you don't normally hit, right? But then something happens, and you're just like, oh, I can't really get to this next room this week because I gotta go do something. I'm busy, and be out of the house or whatever, And so you're like, oh, I'll just push that one back a week, and then something else happens, and you push it back a week, and then before you know it, it's like, you can't remember the last time you did a full sweep of the house, trying to like keep things like any cleaning task that you want to do involves multiple rooms, not just one room, right? Like it just kind of, because it's just necessary, and then that just kind of adds up over time to the point where you're just like, the entire house needs to be cleaned and everything else. And that's kind of the state that I've been in for a while. And of course, you dread it, right? Because it's not like you want things to fall behind, right? You just like, it's just like, that the task in front of you is monumental, and so it's hard to get started. Even though, just like any other task, the best way to start is just do a little bit here, do a little bit there, and just kind of try to get on it. At some point, you're just like, I just want this to be done. I just want to reclaim all this tract of land uh, that I call home. You know, from the dust and the dirt and the grime and all that stuff. And so you kind of get in this state where you're just like, you can never, it's hard to even get started because you feel like you just need to do the whole thing. And it's not, you know, when you're, you know, the only one holding down the fort, it's not a simple task. You know, even if you just have like a small apartment, it's still pretty labor intensive, time intensive, all those things. So anyway, I didn't stream on Saturday because I oh, excuse me. Oof. Also, there's a lot of sneezing because you've kicked up a lot of old, ancient dust. Oh, there we go. So I spent, I woke up at 7 o'clock on Saturday, specifically. You know, I said I'm gonna get up early and I'm gonna try and sort of tackle this beast. And I was, you know, and I had like a good breakfast too, because I was like, I'm gonna start out right. I'm gonna, you know, get a breakfast, you know, get myself in the mental mood, have a shower, all those things. I mean, a normal person probably wouldn't have showered because, you know, you're about to just get sweaty and nasty anyway. But I was like, you know what? I need to feel. If I feel good, I might as well, you know, like, I'm more likely to kind of stick with it, which is kind of a weird thing, but that's just the way it is for me. I'm that guy that will, knowing that I'm going to spend most of the day sweating and toiling, I'm that guy that's just like, I'm going to take a shower first. Just because it's just something about it that kind of puts me at ease. And I just feel better. Before, even though it's kind of pointless. But, so I did that, and around, I would say 11 in the morning, I actually got started. You know, I had a normal breakfast. I just kind of relaxed for a little bit, watched a little Twitch streams, a few Twitch streams, and just kind of, you know, I did my morning routine just as normal, just to kind of stuff, all that stuff. And start the, you know, cleaning proper like around 11 in the morning, and it was not just cleaning, it was also like getting stuff organized, throwing stuff out that I don't need anymore, you know, all kinds of stuff. I still have a ton of stuff to throw out too. Like I got to a point where I was like, I can't put all these out this week in the trash because it's just too much. So I was like, you know, let's break this across a couple weeks. And I did not, so I kind of did it in rounds a little bit, and I worked through most of the day. Like I finished basically at 12:30 at night is when I eventually finished. So it was 11 a.m. to about 12:30 at night. Very long day. Now it wasn't, you know, there were breaks in the middle. Like I took a break for dinner for like an hour, and I took small breaks along the way. Like, you know, when I felt like I was just gonna, you know, you get to that point where you're just like, you can't stand any longer. I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna sit down for a couple minutes and recover and all that stuff. So I did that. And I got 1.5 rooms done. Top to bottom. And that was including like getting things organized, trying to get stuff in the trash that I didn't need, going through old paperwork, all kinds of stuff. I still have a ton more in terms of like going through old paperwork and things to get rid of and all this stuff. I mean, I'm nothing if not a pack rat. Like, I keep things just in case I need them, and then I forgot that I keep them. So, like, a good example would be, I got replaced the dishwasher. I replaced the dishwasher a couple of years ago. Not because I wanted to, but because the power company sent a surge down the line and then destroyed my existing dishwasher and washer and dryer, and then said, "Oops, here's $600." And destroyed the AC at the same time, the central AC. And it's like, "Oops, here's $600," and the whole thing cost me like the AC alone cost me like $18,000 to replace. So that was fun. That was fun. Pico for the win there, I guess. They figured out how to scam everybody out of the not having to pay for destroying your stuff. So that's great. That's awesome. So not salty about that at all. not even the slightest. So I kept like everything. Like, I kept receipts, I kept all kinds of stuff. And that was like years and years ago. And at this point it's like, well, I don't need any of that crap. Because that's all done and over with. And so I was like just trying to go through and destroy a lot of stuff. My God, the neighbor's car is terrible. Jesus Christ, that is loud as hell. Anyway, sorry if you can hear that in the background. That's just, they're obnoxious. I don't know why anybody needs to put that big of a pipe on their car. Like, why do you have to announce to the world that you have a small penis? I don't know. Some people are proud of the stupidest thing. Anyway, I'm in a rare mood today, friends. I'm in a rare mood. I don't know if this is good or bad. Hopefully it's entertaining. If nothing else. If nothing else. I'm in the rawest of forms right now. It turns out when you beat yourself silly, you get into the rawest of forms. So yeah, went through all that stuff. That takes a while just to get through that. At one point in time, and the thing is, it's a lot of I made a lot of decisions along the way that were good decisions that I didn't fully follow through on. So a good example is, I decided at one point that I have a lot of tools and not enough room in the toolbox for all of them. And so I thought, okay, let me and I have a lot of like loose, not just tools, but also like a lot of loose, you know how you collect like nails and screws and all kinds of just random loose stuff that's good to have, but at the same time, what the hell are you ever going to be using them for? Well, I thought, all right, let me find something. I found a toolbox that would hold all my tools, plus have a like organization thing where I can throw. There's like several bins that are covered that you can throw all the random bits and bobs in. And I had purchased that a while ago, years ago, I think. And it was just all this time it is spent just sitting on the ground, in my living room basically, waiting for me to go and actually do the task of, oops, oh, these guys are intense. Okay. Take care of them. Waiting for me to do the task of actually gathering up all my tools and putting them in there and getting that all together and all that stuff. And I was like, yesterday I was like, all right, this has been sitting here way too long. This has to just happen. It just has to happen now. Because, I can't just start cleaning around the stuff. Like, it's at that point where it's just like, this needs to, to be able to efficiently clean, I need to organize this stuff. And so I spent a lot of time doing that, and getting rid of things I knew I didn't need anymore, that kind of thing. So yeah, it wasn't all cleaning, but it was mostly, and it was just I got to the end and I was just like, on the one hand, it feels really good. Like nobody wants to live in a dirty house. Like, rarely, I would say, anybody wants to. And so what happens is, like, over time, you gotta do it. You gotta do it, and it keeps piling up and it keeps piling up, and then you're just like, it stresses you out. Right, you have this constant level of stress because you're just like, I need to do this. I need to do this. This is my responsibility, and I'm not doing it. And eventually, like, having eventually just done it, spent an entire day just doing it. It feels a lot better now walking through that part of the house where I feel like, oh, I feel less stress, even though I'm feeling pain, physical pain. I'm feeling a lot less mental pain, a lot less stress, for all that, and that's good. I still have over half the house to go. Like there's, I did like a room and a half. Still have a hell of a lot more to go. But I actually don't really care what they have to say. I actually don't really care what they have to say. So I'm just going to skip through that. So yeah, so as injured as I am physically, it's been just a weight off my mind for a while here. And also, like, I've recognized over the years I've had opportunities where I can, like, better organize things and stuff, and I still have a lot of those sitting around to do. I've purchased, like, one of the biggest issues I've had in this house is just there's not enough storage, like not enough proper storage. Like they have closets and stuff, but you don't really have, like, sometimes you need more than a closet, right? You need like a pantry or something, somewhere where like that's appropriate for certain things. Closets are great when you have, clothing and stuff, but when you have like just regular like cleaning supplies or bathroom, like towels and stuff like that, like there's a reason we have different storage for different, different strokes for different storage, and this house has always kind of lacked that. As nice as this house is, it's always been a struggle for me to figure out, like, how do I organize things in such a way that, like, I know where everything is, and it's not just sitting out on the ground somewhere. You know what I mean? It's like sort of out of sight, but also organized. And so I've had to, over the years, just kind of, been constantly looking on like Amazon and other things to try to find various schemes to just kind of help me with little things here and there. Um, and it's just like I've identified these areas, but then it's half the problem is identifying it. The other half is actually then implementing it, and that's where I've kind of fallen by the wayside a lot. And so I'm now sort of finally getting the opportunity to do some of that, stuff organized, like complete the organization process. But also I just have a lot of, like I'm a technology guy, right? And technology guys, we accumulate technology over the years. Old computers, old peripherals, it's just inevitable. And every municipality under the sun, and pretty much every state under the sun, requires that you, with certain things, requires that you recycle them. And what has always annoyed me, I appreciate that there's a lot of toxic materials in technology. And so I'm fine with the concept of these have to be recycled because these have to have a special recycling process because they are highly toxic when they break down. And Pennsylvania requires that you do that. However, Pennsylvania doesn't provide you any means to do it. Right? It's like they've left it up to random third parties to try and provide these recycling services, and unfortunately recycling is expensive, and so a lot of those recycling places will only recycle for corporations. They won't do individuals because it costs so much. They figure corporations will hit them with, there'll be enough bulk stuff in bulk from a corporation I don't know, there's probably some kind of system to this. Is that there's like a experience orb down there. How do you get to that? Does this say something? Perhaps something can be done to drive the corruption away. Well, I don't know what other combination it do here. Unless it's changing something over there. I can't really see. Huh. Hey, Lordly Doc, welcome. Ooh. Oh. Oh, right. see. I do. I think I've done every combination I can remember, or every combination I could. Unless it's. Wait, is there. Is there some kind of clue over there? There's two. This one? Oh. All I had to do was the first one. Okay. Does not matter if thy family is thy blood or chosen family is where you feel the most at home. Okay. Oh, I see. 1, 2, 3. That's not an experience orb. That's the one that's on, that's glowing, and these two aren't glowing. Oh, I got it. So that is the answer up there. Okay. Okay. I was like, that has to be something with the background there. So yeah, that was my sort of adventures in cleaning. If you can call it that. So I did that. That was my entire Saturday. That's why I didn't stream last night, because I was just like, I was still cleaning when I would normally stream, and I was just so out of it. I was like, I can't deal with it. Let's hit up some story here.
Buried in the dead somewhere. You'll have to go digging.
You're not coming with us?
Not this time. Haven't had a chance yet to honor Albulan's death. We've waited long enough.
Oh, I understand. And I'm sorry.
We know. I'll pass it along in ritual. Try to let go of that guilt, child. The blame lies with Mephisto, not with you.
Okay. Go do stuff. So yeah, we've so all that was to set up that doing some house hunting this weekend, or yesterday, or today. All my days are running together now. Doing some house hunting today. Today full of house hunting. Just kind of going out to, like, weekends are like usually when you get a lot of like open houses to go to, where you can just kind of walk in at a certain time and just sort of take a look around. You don't really have anybody bothering you. You're just kind of, you know, seeing what's going on and all that stuff. And ran into a really, really nice house. In fact, the first house we looked at was like really, really nice. And it was affordable. Like, it was, you know, very, very affordable for what we're looking for. It had everything we needed. You know, beautiful inside. You know, well maintained, clearly. And everything was good. And so, you know, I have an agent that's representing me for real estate, and I, you know, contacted them and said, hey, we want to put a bid in on the house, and, you know, can you write up some numbers and tell me what that would look like, and let them know, and all this stuff. So they went off and did that, which is great. And it came back like 2 hours later and said, hey, you know, was talking to the listing agent, trying to get an idea of what kind of, offer to put in. Like, have there been other offers? What's going on? The house that we looked at, like, it had literally just gone on the market. It was just, a day before there. It had been on the market for a day prior to the open house. And
To catch up to me?
when we went there, I mean, there were a lot of people in and out, like, looking at it. So it was definitely a hot spot. There was a lot of people looking at it and really interested in it. And so, you never quite know what's going to happen. How many of those people were going to put a bid in and all this stuff. So he comes back and says, so there's already 2 bids ahead of you, and they're expecting 3 more. And already they're well above the asking price of the house. And I had a moment. I had a moment where I was just like, I need to rant about something. I didn't really rant to the agent, because it's not really his fault per se. But I felt like this would be a good thing to rant about just here. I'm not unfamiliar with the process. I mean, I bought this house, I don't know, it was like almost 18 years ago, right? So it's been a while, but I'm not, like, unfamiliar with all of it. There's some new stuff that they do now, but it's mostly the same old, same old. And I just think, and this was something that really caught me off guard when I purchased this house, and it's something that even today has reared its ugly head again. And that was this idea that the idea of a bidding war, right? Now, this house I'm living in, this was I looked at this in an open house, and I think they had in their minds, the previous owners had in their minds, that they were going to have some kind of bidding war for this. And apparently it didn't pan out, because I made an offer for exactly what they had asked for the house. No more, no less. And a couple days later, they came back and said, and accepted my offer. But what was really interesting was, and this is something that I recall now, having gone through the process again, I recall this happening. My real estate agent at that time had said, you put this bid in, but it might look better, it might be more favorable, like they might look at your bid more favorably if you waive your right to get an inspection of the house. Or if you do some kind of, like, halfy measure where you bring the inspector with you while you do the walkthrough of the house.
Barely make it out.
And as you're doing your final quote unquote walkthrough, while you're at closing time, you would bring the inspector with you, and then they would just kind of do a quick look and make sure that everything is functional, right? And I remember thinking at that time that was pretty asinine. And even now, it's pretty asinine. Because I'm like, why, like, how can I convey this? Houses are a lot of money. Even back then, what I paid for this house was a lot of money. It's not a lot of money today, but it was a lot of money then. And it was not a lot of money compared to today. Today, it's the prices have gone insane. But it was a lot then. And they, like I said to my agent, I was like, there's no way I'm going to put that kind of money down and not have a professional look over everything. Right? There's just no way. There's just no way. Like, that would be the silliest thing for me to do. Like, I'm a computer guy. I don't know a goddamn thing about, you know, mechanical stuff and you know, the kind of things that go into a home and all that stuff. I mean, yes, I own a home. That doesn't mean I understand the building codes or I understand, hey, you have woodborne insects like termites, or your roof is at its its end of life or something like that. Like I don't have the eye for that. So agent take a cut to a common strategy to say there are bids that don't exist to drive price up. Yeah, it's true. It is true. But this one in particular, like, what made this house appealing that we looked at was that it was lower than what the market's been going for. Like, the market's been going, that we've been looking at has been going, trending like 625, 650K. And this was coming in at like 585. Right? So very appealing, but also below what the market is like apparently willing to just fork over. So it seemed like it was set up in such a way that they wanted a bidding, which I don't know. I part of me feels like that's almost unethical, but fools will be parted with their money. You know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of it's hard. Like, I could kind of, as much as I hate it, it is unfortunately business. And that's the thing. And I don't. And what I'm getting at is like this was happening even when I was buying this house, many years ago. And it annoys me more, I think, with homes than it probably does with anything else, because a house is inherently has emotions built into it. Well, it's kind of a weird thing to say, but you have, like, a house is a house. Like, you it's where you live. It's where you hang your hat. It's where you potentially, support your family and things like that, right? It's one of those things. And to play with that by saying, well, the house looks really good. Maybe let's how much is this worth to you? It's like dangling it in front of your face, like, well, we're asking for this amount, but really we think you're going to, we're going to make it so that you really want to give us more. We really want you to fight for this. It's like, no. Like, first of all, I want nothing to do with a bidding war. Not at all. No way in hell. There's way too much money. Like, That's the kind, like, I'm not I'm not made of money, right? Like, a bidding war is something you do when you've got way too much money to be, you know, way too much money and not enough excitement in your life, right? Like, that's what a bidding war is. You know, I have way too little money and plenty of other things to be excited about. Right? Like, I don't need that to be. I don't need to gamble on my future, or on the roof over my head. Like, I've got better things to spend my energy on. But it just, so I guess it annoys me a little bit more that they pull that stuff, where it's just like, yeah, we're gonna purposely undersell this just because we know people are gonna get emotional about it, and they're gonna just kind of like, they're gonna fall in love with it and with the house, and they're gonna put up all their more money than they really ought to, because they really want to be there, and they're going to make bad decisions, and we're going to profit off of their really poor, you know, financial decisions. And that happened. Like, I was just like, you know, because my agent was like, well, you know, we could put in a higher bid, and here's what it would look like if you put it higher. I'm like, no, they asked for 585. I'm going to offer them 585, and that's it. Why would I ever? Why would I ever, like, let them... I don't even know what would the term be. Like, why would I ever let them scam me? Question mark? Out of that's probably not the word I want to use, but out of money. Like, it's like, and people would do this even then, like, where they would be like, well, you know, they're asking, you know, 300,000, or they're asking like 250, so we're gonna bid, you know, 275 or something. Like, it's like a freaking game of Price is Right, right? You always have that one asshole that comes in and is like, $1, please. It's like, you're just an idiot. You know? And so it's like, private equity owns about 25% of manufactured homes. Some states like Michigan forcibly driving demand and increasing prices by around 45% as well. Yeah, I honestly, with the way, like, the speed at which things are coming on the market and immediately coming off the market, somebody is buying stuff up. And we've already seen a couple instances where, because, you know, one of the nice things on, like, the real estate sites like Zillow and stuff like that is they'll tell you the history of the property. And I've seen a couple pop up that's like, you know, purchased last year for, you know, $385, and now it's back on the market for $625. It's like, okay, somebody's going around and just flipping the frick out of homes. And it's not like they're good flips either. They're just kind of coming in. They're doing like really basic cosmetic stuff, really cheap cosmetic stuff, and they're flipping it for like double what they paid. And it's just, it's... I have no words, right? It's just like, there's so many people now who, like, I make good money. I make really, really good money. And even I'm like, I don't make enough to survive in this real estate market. Right? It's just, it's like, my purchasing power in this real estate market is paltry compared to what is being asked. And it's like how did we get here? I mean, I'm sure this has been an ongoing thing for a long time, but it's like it just kind of hits you like, what the frick is going on? Where even someone who is doing really well for themselves cannot make it, like cannot participate in something that you would think would be a basic thing to be able to participate in, you know, being able to have a home. I mean, maybe that's my, you know, naivete right there, right? I assumed that having a home was, you know, something that should be attainable by everybody, but apparently the corporations have decided that's not the case. Somewhere along the way, we decided that not everybody is entitled to that privilege, even if you've done everything right, you know. And that's I don't know. I just, it's frustrating to see, because when I say we walked into a home that was like absolutely perfect for us, I mean it. Like, we walked in there and immediately we're just like, this is fantastic, but I'm not going to be duped, right? Like, there's no way I'm going to accept a property on faith, right? You know, I'm gonna immediately say, like, and that's like I told my agent, I was like, I am going to insist upon, it's a lot of money, so I'm going to insist upon a full inspection, a full, you know, look for woodborne insects or termites or whatever, a full, like, radon inspection, like the works, because I want to know what I'm paying. And it's a good thing I did that for this house. It was a good thing I did, because I walked through with the inspector before any, like, agreement was signed, before settlement. I walked through with the inspector. He went thoroughly through everything. He pointed out everything. He said, here's where all your shutoff valves are. Here's how this looks. And more importantly, he got up on the roof, walked around, and he looked at the shingles, and he was like, all right, this roof is at its end of life. You're going to have to replace this. And so, you know, I took that information and I was like, all right, the inspector says I need a new roof. So, you know, I was offering you what you were asking, and now I'm revising that offer, and I'm saying I want $5,000 less because I need to use that money to buy a new roof. And they agreed. So I got the house for $5,000 less than what they asked for, because they couldn't dispute the fact that you know, I had a inspector come in and look at the roof and go, yeah, this is not going to float. You've got maybe, you know, this is beyond its usable life, I think is what he said, right? So it was like, I'm like, hey, I you know, I said, because even at the time, the real estate agent was like, "Are you really want to revise this? You really want to say they have to do?" And I was like, "Yes." She's like, "Well, I don't know what I would say to them." I was like, "Well, tell them this: they enjoyed the roof for however many years they lived here. Now it's my turn, so you know." They got to enjoy the roof, and they don't want to fix it, so I'm gonna charge them for the privilege of them enjoying the roof and not fixing it. Right? And they have every right to say hell no and try to hold out for another bid, you know. But I'm not gonna screw around like this. That was a lot of money to spend to then be on the hook for trying to, on top of all that, you know, repair a roof and everything. Like, that's you know, something has to give. And you know, I'm not saying that I saw anything on the tour that would
I cannot carry more.
suggest that there was anything wrong with that. The house looked, you know, meticulous, like immaculate. But you know, I'm also not going to say like, I'm not going to take the word of somebody who's like, well, you know, we were very thorough in keeping up with the place and all that stuff. I was like, yeah, I don't really care if a divine being manicured your lawn for a decade. I'm going to verify that everything is good. The old trust but verify, right? Like, I'm going to verify that everything's still good by someone who knows what they're doing. At some point, research the NVIDIA circular funding in this economy makes perfect sense. Oh no, I did research that. I did look at it, and I know what you're talking about. The whole AI thing where they're just like, it's all funny money. I was watching like a bunch of, what's his name, Ed Zitron. I was watching a bunch of his stuff, and he's like out there like, the math doesn't make any sense. And I was like, yeah, okay, I get it. And it doesn't. And I part of me also is like, you know, first of all, I own my house fully, so I'm in no rush to find something. You know, I mean, a good deal's a good deal, which is why I acted on this one. But like, I'm not overly rushed out the door to get something. And I, on top of all that, I have the feeling that, you know, we got all these IPOs coming up for AI stuff, and Meta is like, well, Meta is doing what Meta does. Meta is just, I think Zuckerberg had one good idea, and that's the only thing. That's the only good idea he could muster. Like there are some people who have the capacity for one good idea and make a crap ton of money for that one good idea, and that's fine. Sometimes all it takes is one good idea, but then they outlive their usefulness, right? And Meta is just more of a cautionary tale than anything else. Like, at some point, Zuck needed to get kicked to the sidelines, and someone else with another idea needed to come into power. Because he's got a ton of money to just waste on nonsense. And I mean, and the people who are really losing are the employees, right? Because they're trying their best to make, you know, to polish a turd, and continue to keep a rudderless boat afloat, right? And they're the ones ultimately paying when the boat capsizes and they get kicked to the curb. So, you know. But it's yeah. So the point there is that I'm also kind of waiting as well, because I feel like something is bound to give way, and I don't know what that's going to look like. Like, my hope is that prices come back down to where they should be, and we kind of the the shared fever dream finally breaks, and we get back to the business of like actually, you know, numbers having meaning again. You know, we get out of the fantasy land, and we get back to stuff making some kind of sense. And maybe that means that things will finally come back down to a point where it's
Seems we weren't the first to find this place.
more normal.
Let's hope this one has what we need.
But I don't know. We'll see. But like I said, I mean, it's worth looking anyway, just to see if there's, just to find a diamond in the rough. You know.
It's etched in the same hand. Help was asked, so help was offered. Is that what we're supposed to do? Ask for help?
Aid would be welcome.
Wait, don't hurt them. They're the offered help, aren't you?
We are pilgrims who trod in Akarat's footsteps, same as you. Though we faltered, where you prevailed.
Kill burned knights.
I am sorry for the violence they brought.
It was silenced easily enough. But you are touched by hatred. It coaxes out the bile in all things. The loathing in your heart. The bitter dead beneath your feet. Lay it all down to rest before you are consumed.
I'm not ready yet.
They were wanderers too. Only they never met Journey's end.
What do we do now?
Look! New words have appeared. He bade me southwest to the crevasse that hid his friends. Southwest. That's our next heading.
Just southwest of General, huh? Alright. So yeah, it was my semi-rant against like what is going on here. It just the market is just it's weird because there are literally right now there are houses on the market that we've been looking at that are almost the same square footage as my house, but are like 3 times the price. It's like, I know that there's the, you know, neighborhoods play a role, you know, because, you know, all the other houses in the neighborhood tend to, you know, play a role in how the what things go for, but it's not that much. Like it's something downright insane is going on. That is just kind of like, I'm at that point where I'm like, does it make the most sense to just not do anything? Not anything, but like keep looking and just wait for something to really click. You know, do you play the game and do bidding war nonsense? You know, it's so screwed up. And it's just like it's a little bit annoying. A little bit annoying to kind of. It feels like a rug pull sometimes when they're just like they're selling you this. They're trying to sell you this idea of a house, and then they're trying to get you to be to stop using your brain and use and just be emotionally driven. And I don't know. And the worst part is, I think the most distressing part of it is that they had 5 people who were going to put bids in that were well above what they were asking for. And I feel like I almost feel that's irresponsible. Whereas at some point it like becomes borderline irresponsible, because this is not a small amount of money. You know, these are not like, it would literally, if I had put in like the bid that the agent had suggested, right? It's over $5,000 a month in mortgage payments. You know, you couple that with the, you know, the taxes and all that stuff. Like $5,000 a month in mortgage payments. That's insane. That is literally insane. And that's with a 6.5% interest rate. Like that's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. For a house that, like I said, 10 years ago, literally this house, like it was bought, that we looked at, was bought 10 years ago for, I think, half the price that they were asking for. And I mean, sure, they might have put a few improvements into it, but there's no way you've put enough improvements into it to double the price. Like, there's just something that makes no sense going on. I mean, my only thought is that there's a lot of people who are just way too naive. And I know we've always been plagued with naivete, but it feels like it's hit. It feels like it's worse than it's probably ever been. You know, like it's just, like, I don't. Do people really not understand the concept of the gambler's fallacy? Right? Where, like, you're just gonna, like, it does not necessarily mean that you're going to, just because you won before doesn't mean you're going to win now, kind of thing. I just, and the idea of gambling on a house is just, I don't know, it's so foreign to me. Again, it feels like a game for people who have too much money and not enough sense. Maybe I'm just old. maybe I'm just getting old and cranky too. I don't know. It's anything could be possible there. It just kind of feels very strange. Yeah, and there's some, like, there's some stress around it too, a little bit. I mean, you know, it's a big change. There's a lot you have to do. There's a lot you have to take into account. You know, at this point in my life, this would likely be the last time I would move. You know, which is crazy to think because, you know, this was my first house that I bought. And to live in a house long enough that the second ever purchase is likely going to be your last purchase, is fantastic and awesome, but also it rings weirdly in my ears. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, it's less of a it's less of a, what's the word? It's less of a transition for me, I guess, than it is for those going in on it with me, because like it's just like even though I've accumulated a lot of crap over the years, it's not like I have to upend a family. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm a little bit more mobile, a little bit more. But yeah, it's I don't know. I can't get over the fact that like I really wanted to just refurbish this house. Like I wanted to take this house and like do a complete makeover on it. And to see that it was like $400 a square foot to do it just blew my mind. It's like, yeah, I would be better off just buying new,
Shuffling through old books
you
in
know,
the vault.
than trying to do that.
Well, I guess I missed you and the others more than anything. But yes, I never had a place to belong to before that.
Alright. Let's go into the place that the Dedicants retreat. Okay. So we'll go down this way. Alright. Let's see what we got here. I have 1 point. I guess we'll. No matter which one I do. Move towards that. That's good. Man, I needed this. I needed to just be able to kind of sit here and just relax a bit and just kind of rant a little bit and just sort of not be too concerned about having to think about what I'm doing. I did want to try to start the new No Man's Sky expedition. I assume that's a 6-week expedition. I don't remember. And not like the shortened 2-week ones, but we'll see. Even if I don't get to that, at some point I do need to get to, like, I wanted to go through all the old ones, and we've got quite a few of them under our belt, so even if I don't get to it live, which I'd like to get to it live, I can at least replay it. I might try to fit that in this week, if I can. We'll see, because I got so many things going on. I love, like, I'm enjoying, like, 007. I'm enjoying, you know, Lego Batman. Enjoying all those things. It's just like so many things going on, and then of course there's I think there's a PoE 2 league happening, which I didn't participate in the last PoE 2 league, but this one apparently we don't quite have, like, they're not quite 1.0 yet. I thought they had gone 1.0, but they're not quite 1.0 yet. This is kind of their big push towards it. So I'm trying to figure out if it makes sense to jump into it now or wait until it's like fully 1.0, because I feel like I'm already kind of behind the curve on it anyway, because everyone's kind of gotten their start in the early access, which I did play a little bit of the early access, but I didn't play enough to get all the way through the campaign or anything. In fact, I struggled to get even past the first boss. I'd like to do that at some point. I definitely want to finish Diablo 4, though. Like, I want to finish the story of Diablo 4. We still got a bunch of that to go. And I'm enjoying, like, even the non-story stuff I'm enjoying tremendously in this. So this is not going anywhere. And it's really nice, like I said, to kind of have it as a means to just sort of chat a little bit if I have stuff to chat about. That's really the hard part. The hard part is having stuff to chat about, because there's not a whole lot I can... I mean, ARPGs are always difficult like that, where there's not a whole lot going on the screen where I can be like, here's what I'm thinking here, here's what I'm thinking there. I can just sort of narrate what I'm doing. It's pretty darn obvious. So, kind of have to bring something else to the plate when you're doing these things. And that's the difficulty right now. Ah, itchy. Itchy, itchy. And then to sort of add annoyance on top of annoyance, there was an open house. We went to several open houses today. You know, because why not when you're out there? And there was the second one we went to. You know, after getting kind of blown away by the first one, the second one we went to. Asking for a lot more money than the first one, and just sort of downright, it felt like it was downright hiding stuff, because we went in there and, you know, it was a lot, you know, there was a lot of room, it was laid out nicely, but you start to, but you, like, it's very immediately obvious that there's just stuff wrong, that they were trying to hide a little bit. So, for instance, we go down into the basement because they were very like cagey about like certain things, like what kind of heating does it have? Well, they said it had electric heating. It's like, okay, so we go down in the basement to look at it, and no, it's oil heat. Right? And in fact, we're informed that the whole neighborhood is actually just oil heat. And we're not looking for that. We're not looking for that. If we had known that, if it had been very open about that in the posting, we wouldn't have even bothered with it, because we're just not interested in that. We just want, you know, we don't want to deal with oil heat. We don't want to deal with propane heat. We just want to have like natural gas, and you know, there's plenty of areas around here where, you know, it's a public utility and you don't have to
It's locked.
And
mess around.
to reach the other side. I'll crawl through.
Um,
Don't make that face. I didn't mean it seriously.
so that was the first thing. The second thing was we go down in the basement and it was musty as hell down there. And they had a sump pump, so, and you know, we knew that they had a sump pump. But it, like, I guess the sump pump either failed or something happened where they must have had a ton of water, because we went in the area where the sump pump was and it was like the insulation was visibly wet, like they on the walls, like it was just insane. And they didn't bother to mention that, you know. Then we look at the pool, and apparently they had gotten the liner replaced, and the people that replaced the liner screwed it up. Because we were looking at it, we're like, why are there so many wrinkles in the liner? And it's like, oh yeah, well, the place that did it, they you know, we talked to the listing agent, and they're like, oh yeah, the place that did it screwed up. They're gonna, you know, we got them coming back to fix it and all this stuff. But I told them to just fill the pool anyway, so that, you know, it would look better. It's like, what the hell? So you went and they messed up the liner, and then you had them fill the pool, an in-ground pool, to try to cover up the fact, like, you know, it's a good thing, like, you know, we know what we're looking for, because anyone who doesn't know what they're looking for would walk right into that and not realize what was going on there. And it's just like, and then we, you know, as we're exploring the house, you look out the window and we're looking at the like, one of the windows overlooked a portion of the roof, the first floor roof. And you're looking at the shingles up close, and you're like, this looks like it's getting pretty old. Like, they're bubbling, they're kind of falling apart a little bit. You know, there's telltale signs that it's like starting to wear down. And it's just like, you know, you look at that, you're like, what is going on here? You couple that with everything else that was going on,
It's me, not Laura out here. I think that would have done him in.
and you're just like, who are they trying to fool? Because it seems so crazy to, oops, okay, this is, what the hell, man? There's so much stuff going on here. Alright. And I'm curious, like, I still have that saved, because I'm curious to see if anybody ends up putting an offer in for that house, because it was screaming like, this house needs work. And that's a lot of money to pay for a house that needs work. Like a lot of money to pay for a house that needs work. Like there's fixer-uppers, certainly. And usually you disclose that it's a fixer-upper and the price matches the idea that you're going to have to put a lot of work into it. This one was not advertised as a fixer-upper, and the price was like for a house that was move-in ready. You know, and I hope that they don't dupe anybody. I hope they don't actually somebody ends up buying that without realizing what's going on. Because again, all the agents are trying to encourage you not to get inspections and stuff. But I mean, even with that one, you wouldn't even really necessarily need an inspection to see how freaking the smell, the mustiness, and everything else going on there. And maybe we got really lucky because it was just after a rainstorm, but like, oof, jeez Louise. I mean, I recall that we looked at house. I forget who was looking at the house. I think it was I forget. It wasn't. I don't think it was my house hunt. I think somebody else was looking for a house, and I went with them, and we happened to go. And this was years and years and years ago. And we happened to go to this house right after a rainstorm, and we're walking around the house and we're looking at it, and we see, spots, stains up on the ceiling from where it was, the roof had begun to leak. And it's like, and we're looking at each other like, well, it's a really good thing we took a look at this after a rainstorm, or else you would have never known the roof was leaking there. You wouldn't have known what you were getting into.
Incredible.
Sketches of accurate human and lion. Scrawled notes read, he's dead now, yet he comes to me in dreams in a lion's shape. Am I mad to think it him? The creature radiates his same love and sorrow. It is a comfort in sleep, and in agony when I awake. He returned today, half dead, his throat split open and gangrenous. He left to rid Nahantu of hatred. His battle with its master near killed him, and still evil blooms in the soil. What more could Sanctuary demand of him? Let it rot, I say. Let him rest. Jolin, I'd hoped you of all would understand. I loved Akarat as fiercely as you. These safeguards for his final rest aren't meant for you. They're for thieves, for they will come. Trust me. I was one of them, once. Find me in Samuk, Isabella. I think I found what we're looking for.
Yes, his final rest. That has to be his tomb, near a place called Samuk. Hopefully Eru Omaka can tell us where that is.
Alright, good. I'll say one thing though. Spending the weekend cleaning has made the weekend disappear very quickly. I'm not. Part of me is just not ready to go back to work tomorrow. I gotta say. Yeah, alright. Grab all this. And keep heading down here. Across here, I guess.
I'm not ready yet.
Right. Get these guys. Oh, get these guys taken care of. Honestly, if nothing else, I want this AI stuff to get back into the realm of realism and out of the realm of fantasy that it's in right now.
Burned nuts, they found us.
Because the amount of there's a silly amount of money. Burning Crusade.
I've survived worse.
Where's Eru?
Taken. Alive. They made sure of that. They took off northeast of here.
You should stay and tend to your injuries. We can bring him back.
No. I'll go with you. They should not have harmed Eru. I have tolerated those armored fools on Teganze soil long enough.
So what is that enemy down there? Is that a showing up on the map? Is that a
Did you find
what should we
those
call
tablets?
it? Loot troll?
Yes, they led to a trove of information. The tomb lies near a place called Sun.
Well done, Miran. Samuk is a town far southwest of here. Eru's from there. He'll know where to take us.
Yes, it was. Alright. Well, I saw that from up there. Okay. Let's roll along here. Yeah, because the amount of money that's just being spent right now, that's just silly for silly in a silly fashion. When it comes to the AI stuff, is just it's too much. It's way too much. You know, if it wasn't being sold as a miracle cure, you know, it might be different, and the capabilities actually matched what was being sold. It might be different, but that's not what's going on, and it's honestly just, on the one hand, we knew something like this would happen. On the other hand, it's really distressing to see how many CEOs and leadership roles in technology are incompetent. I mean, we always knew that they were incompetent. It's just the level of incompetence on display right now is just insane. And the lessons, you think at this point the lessons had been learned from the past of, like, you know, when you're doing, like, say, you know, you would think it's been well known at this point that measuring somebody's lines of code as a productivity measure doesn't work, because it never did. Right? And it's been tried before and it never works. And now they've gone around and they said, well, we're going to measure your productivity by how much lines of code the AI has generated. And it's like, it's the same freaking problem we've had for decades now. You can't measure creativity that way. It just doesn't work. It's a problem that has never been solved. Why would it suddenly be solved now when it's the same damn problem? You know, and nobody's coming to the table with anything new, with any new information or new ways of doing it. It's just, you know, it's just driving, but now it's AI controlled. Like it's, you know, like eating, but it's now AI. Like it's. I don't. I worry sometimes just how bad it will get before the adults in the room reemerge and realize that they've been duped and just kind of finally come to terms with it, that they've been sold a lemon.
There, that ladder. That must be it. Oh no.
And try to bring some, you know, try to stop the bleeding. But it's happening again, isn't it?
What is?
The soul stone. It can be volatile. It can make me see things. Make me lash out.
To deny your pain is to deny yourself. Don't push it down. Guide it through you. Your struggle only serves your prisoner. Look at me. I'm here. And I'm real. Breathe with me, Nerel. This will pass.
Thank you, Maka. This will pass.
Burn Night encampment. Okay. I'd say we're clearing out the camp pretty good here. You didn't do it on purpose, did you?
No. It's not safe to be near me. You go on ahead. I'll handle it alone.
It isn't courage to refuse help. It is fear.
I should be afraid. You could die, Maka.
Of course I could. So could we all. The stone threatens the whole of the world. But it's you who promises to save it. And that burden is too heavy for any single person to bear. Come, Neyrelle. Let us carry it with you.
Akarat, cheers, Chacham. Really, to be cheers. No, she's dead. It's not real.
Tell me what is real.
This ground. Solid. Underfoot.
Yes, good. What else?
My axe. It's heavy in my hand. Familiar.
A time-tested blade is a good companion. Tell me one more real thing.
My mother chose Lilith. She chose Lilith over me.
Her mistake doesn't define your worth, Neyrelle. And her mistake is the past. But we are present. Here in the room. We choose you. Hold on to us when you feel yourself sleeping. All right?
Okay. Getting a little bit of story. Nice. And I'm just kind of realizing more and more that I need to be doing a lot more damage. Just a heck of a lot more damage than what I'm doing. The only reason we're kind of rolling over these guys is because of people helping us right now. Hey, Kefler. Welcome on in. How you doing? How are things? How are things going? Got back into playing Dig'em. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I was mentioning that No Man's Sky has a new expedition going on. I think they do. I kind of want to make sure I kind of want to get to that start to get to that this week if I can. But with everything else, who knows? But kind of my long running thing, because I do want to go through all the expeditions at some point. Like replaying them. Well, some friends hop on it lately. Yeah. So I kind of want to do that. See what that's all about. I stay on top of them a little bit. But there's so much. There's so much going on. So many games, and it's fantastic. It's fantastic having all these games. Kind of be immersed in. Arrow, you're alive.
Thanks to you. Hey, we're even now. You came at a good time. The leader was he the one
You know
who
what's
started
something to do when people start hopping on the man? Yeah,
picking out knights for a
Yeah.
search party? Now's a good chance to leave before he sets out.
well, and then
Not with the threat he poses to
I
me.
think PoE 2 has a season going on right now.
I'll handle this.
And I'm like debating whether I want to jump into that, because it's like I played a little bit of the early access, but I didn't like get very far. And I think it's still technically early access. I think what the season is still the early access season, but they're getting really close to 1.0. So I'm like, maybe I should start to get more familiar with it now that they're getting closer to 1.0. But I don't know. I always yeah. I always end up bouncing off of it before I get to the end of it, though. Just because I'm hoping that by playing it while it's still early, that I won't bounce off of it quite as quickly. But I don't know. It's a hard one because there's just like demonstrably bad builds, and I tend to always run into one because I don't want to look them up. You would think though, with a game like that, I was thinking this the other day while I was watching somebody playing PoE. You would think, since so many people in the community contribute builds to the game, that and people follow those builds and everything. You've got passive that little utility that people use. I forget the name of it. Mark of Exile or something like that. I forget that thing. Where it shows, you can import somebody's build, and then it shows you all the different nodes to get in the passive tree and all that stuff. And you would think that they would have some kind of in-game community thing, right, where the community could contribute all in-game builds, and you know, people can upvote them and say like, yeah, this is good, or this is, or whatever, and then in game you just have a button that just says follow this build, or don't, you know, or you just do it manually. Like if you want to do a variant on the build or something like that, and just put that all in game. You would think, given how popular that is, that they would have something like that now, but I guess not. Come to finish what you started.
I was going to take you back to Kyovisha. Offer you the privilege of a fair trial. But your scorched body on a pike will do as much to strengthen our future in the church and bury Prava in the past, where she belongs. Deal with them, knights.
Oh, you're not going to deal with me yourself, huh? You want to be chicken shit, huh? Not come after me? Oh, here you go. Nice. Got time. Look at that.
It is only you and I here, Wanderer. No reason for theatrics, just truths. That fool, Inarius, dragged the cathedral into hell because of a poem scribbled out by a half-breed abomination. Then you escort that girl to our destruction and call it righteous. And you think I am the one who is mad? I offered the people order. I offered them salvation. I offered them a light against the darkness. What do you offer?
Freedom. Peace.
I offer a choice.
Or choice.
You were a power-hungry tyrant, Yuravar, but at least you were honest about it. In the end, Prava will be pleased to have the cathedral back under her thumb. And perhaps I'll finally have it off my back.
Alright. Awesome. The only thing I can see happening is meta builds tend to come up and go, like trends, especially when newer stuff gets added. So when a new meta gets put up, it'll take time to suppress the older ones, or might not get upvoted at all. Yeah. But I still feel, I feel like it's embedded enough in the community that I'm honestly surprised they don't embrace it, because they could probably put some quality of life around it and really make it a an attractive thing, but I also kind of look at it as I also kind of look at it as a almost like cheating a little bit too.
What have you done? All she wanted was to help you.
No.
What happened?
The girl killed one of the only people trying to be her friend.
Don't blame the child. Blame the stone.
Maka, you damn fool. Why didn't you run?
Ero, you know better than that. This is Nahantu. Help was needed, so help was offered. It is who we are.
Maka. Akarat sent me to you. I stayed when you told me of Lilith. I stayed when you spoke with Mephisto. But this... I can't stay anymore. Akarat asks too much of me. The price of your friendship is too high. Go. Take the child with you and go.
I don't really see it as cheating or an easy way out. Meta builds exist because that's what the community diverged on that worked. So technically just saves you trial and error to find the meta yourself and eventually end up at it. But, and here's my thing. I get that. I also get that the game... I honestly feel like the game almost requires you to play the meta, because even though they've given you all these choices, a lot of them just kind of lead to frustration. And so they've kind of almost required the meta in many ways. So why not integrate it into the game, number one? But number two, I still think it's a little bit cheaty, because the whole, like, why have that huge passive tree if most of the time you need somebody else, like you have to follow somebody else's build, right? Like, it's just like the whole point of a game like that, I feel like, when you have a tree like that, is to be able to explore different builds and be able to still be successful. Like you look at Diablo here, and like the all the passive skills in the Paragon tree, right? Like, yeah, you're kind of railroaded here and there, but you can really make a lot of choices and have them still be successful, right? Like, have those, like, you can play almost the way you want to play. And I feel like PoE doesn't really, PoE 2, more to the point, doesn't really, it gives you the illusion that you can play the way you want to play, but you really can't. So I don't know. I've always looked at the meta stuff as being like a little bit cheaty in that regard, just because it feels like it goes against the premise that they're trying to do, but at the same time, it's also kind of sometimes the only way to actually enjoy the game. I don't know. I'm of two minds about it. Um, it does say trial and error of it. True. That's the other thing about meta. It might not be the only one. Bills could go hidden for years before anyone finds them. It's not that you're stuck on one meta, just that nobody has figured out anything else that worked yet. It's true. It's true. But it's like, how many people are going to put the hundreds of hours in to find all these different builds? You know? Because theoretically, in order to really find a good build, you have to hit that wall, the progression wall, multiple times before you can finally make it. So, I don't know. I mean, and then, I mean, the counterpoint to that is people love the game enough that they want to play it for hundreds or thousands of hours and they want to come up with these builds. And then people who don't have that kind of time also want to enjoy the game but don't want to deal with that. So it's kind of the one part of the community is feeding the other part. So, and that expands the community because people who would otherwise say no thanks, I don't want to make hundreds of hours and then hit a wall, can still enjoy the game. So yeah, I can see both sides of it. Okay. I have to go now, Narelle.
I told her to stay away. I told her, but she wouldn't listen. She thought she could reach me again. But she couldn't. Not this time. You can end it. You can end it and take the stone. You can get it to the tomb. I know you can.
Nerel, we don't know that. Killing you might just free Mephisto. We need to see this through. And we will. Together.
You sound like Marka.
Marka believed in you. So do I. And I've survived far worse than that stone.
Then let's get to that tomb. And finish this for good.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. She wouldn't leave my side.
Of course she wouldn't. She could not. But I have never been as strong as her.
Please.
Go, Neril. Just go.
It wasn't your fault, there.
Friends shouldn't lie to each other. Marka said Samuk is far southwest of here. I'll return to Kurast to chart our path.
Urvar's charged sword and shattered. Okay. Are these any good? Oh, it's cosmetic. Oh, I see. Alright, interesting. Let's go back to Kurast ourselves. Because I am going to have to stop here. Let me go clear out our inventory.
That wasn't too hard.
That stuff. And then, do I have any... I don't have any available points. Do I have anything else over here for the season? Not yet. I'm hoping we get to a point where I can sort of start doing these like war plans and stuff, and get the Scovos and all that. I mean, that's the next. That's the DLC. We have to get past this, the DLC that we're on right now. which it seems like we're kind of rolling down on that, which is good. Reliquaries. What do we got? Got 5 points. Let's grab that. Try to get through some of these here as we can. Sorry, aspects. 14 of 21. Okay. Alright, cool on that. Yeah, where are we at on here? Vessel of Hatred, the way out is through. So I wonder how many more have left on this one. I imagine we're getting right to the end here. Let me see. Does it say Diablo or story missions? Main quests. Act 7, Vessel of Hatred. So I think we just did Burning Crusade. Yes, so we're at the way out is through. So chapter 4. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the epilogue. So we got 8 more story beats to do. And then why did that bring me back there? 8 more story beats to do, and then Act 8 is Lord of Hatred, which doesn't tell me here. They don't have the... So is there not a... I'm pretty sure there's an Act 8, which is Lord of Hatred, but I don't know. Aggression... Mephisto's story. Oh, here we go. Lord of Hatred walkthrough and quest list. I want to see how many quests there are. Okay, so there's 5 chapters again. Okay, so there's a lot. There's a lot there. Actually, the chapters look a little bit bigger than the last one. All right. All right, not bad. Not bad. I just wanted to see where we're at with all that. So we got a ways to go. Yet with some of this stuff. Cool. Cool beans. So yeah, we'll get to this, you know, as and when I have you know, stuff to chat about while we're doing it. Most people went out of their way to buy those full-blown game guides. You know, and a computer 2 months of your paycheck. Yeah. Well, and you know, and the game guides. The thing about the game guides, though, was a lot of times they gave you more. Like the Prima guides used to give you even more like backstory and stuff in them sometimes. So sometimes it was not just like, hey, tell me how to win the game, but also sometimes it like gave you a little bit extra, a little extra sauce, which was kind of cool. I guess in a way, like the meta builds and stuff kind of give you a little extra because you get to experience the game in like oftentimes a very high, like a very fast pace, like a faster pace than you would maybe normally. So I guess there's parallels there too, even for that. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just kind of every time I do it, I just feel like I can't bring myself to look at somebody else's build and just copy it. Like I just to me it I don't know. It feels like it's an essential part of the game, and I'm sort of robbing myself of it. But at the same time, I've bounced off the game so many times that it almost makes sense to just do that just to experience the game because I've even PoE 1, I never got to the end of the story in PoE 1. I just every time I would do stuff, I would get to a wall where I'm like, yeah, I don't feel like fighting with this anymore. And I would drop it, and it's just like maybe that's the only way to really experience the story is to just go and follow someone else's build. I don't know. I don't know. It's just something I'm thinking about. You know, just something. Um. Anyway, friends, as I've ranted about as we're going along here, it's been a busy weekend. I am battered and bruised physically. The mind is willing, but the body is soft and squishy. So I am going to call it here. I know it was a relatively short stream, but yeah, it is what it is, and I'm going to get to bed and just kind of recover and and work in the morning and all that stuff. Um, so yeah, friends, that is it for Diablo 4 for tonight. Like I said, we got a couple things going this week. We've got 007, we've got Lego Batman. I do want to pop back into Elementalist at some point. I think the thing with Elementalist is I really need to watch my I need to watch the end of my last stream to remember where we were and what we had to do next, because I don't think it has. I don't know if it has a very good journal in it. So I'll do that. So it, I'm not completely out in left field. Hopefully. And corn, yeah. And what else? Yeah, I don't remember if there's just something coming out this week. Oh, I definitely want to try to hit up the No Man's Sky thing going on. I don't think there's anything else going on this week. Romestead would be nice to start, but I think we're gonna have to hold off on that until I get past a few other things. Oh, Forza Horizon 6, I would like to pop back into that again for a stream and just kind of chill and drive. We still got Diablo 4. I mean, we're eating good. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff going So, okay, that'll be it. That'll be it for me for tonight. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. If you have run across this on the YouTubes and you have a like and or subscribe that you can spare, maybe toss my way, that would be really swell and awesome. It helps out tremendously, and I appreciate it greatly. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I hope everyone has an excellent morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on what it is for you. And I hope to see you back here again in the future for some more stuff, whatever happens to suit your fancy. Until then, see you bye.
I didn't get a harumph out of that guy.
Give the governor a rump.
You watch your ass.